The bakery sat on a corner in the older part of town, the kind of place that had been there for generations and would probably be there for generations more. It had wooden display cases with glass fronts that showed off rows of pastries and cakes, and the smell of butter and sugar hung in the air like a sweet fog. The afternoon light came through the front windows, making everything glow warm and golden. Inside, behind the counter, Mrs. Chen was wiping down the glass when the little girl came in. She couldn't have been more than 6 years old, with blonde hair pulled into 2 pigtails that stuck out at odd angles, as if she'd done them herself that morning. She wore a pink dress with little flowers on it, slightly too big, and she clutched a small canvas bag against her chest with both hands. Her eyes were wide as she looked at all the cakes in the display cases, and she moved slowly, carefully, as if afraid she might break something. Mrs. Chen had owned this bakery for 30 years, and she could tell a lot about people by how they walked through her door. This child walked like someone who knew that treats were special, that you didn't take them for granted, that sometimes you had to save up for something sweet. "Hello, sweetheart," Mrs. Chen said gently, coming around the counter. "Can I help you find something?" The little girl looked up at her with serious blue eyes. "I need to buy a birthday cake," she said, her voice small but determined. "It's for my mama. She's turning 30 tomorrow, and I want to surprise her." "That's very sweet of you," Mrs. Chen said. "What kind of cake does your mama like?" "Chocolate," the girl said immediately. "She loves chocolate. And she likes flowers, so maybe a cake with flowers on it?" She paused, then added quietly, "But I only have $5. She reached into her canvas bag and pulled out a worn $5 bill, holding it up as if it were a treasure, which Mrs. Chen thought it probably was to her. Mrs. Chen's heart squeezed. The cheapest cake in her shop was $25, and that was for a small one. A proper birthday cake with decorations would run at least $40. But looking at this child's hopeful face, she couldn't bring herself to say no. "Let me see what I can do," Mrs. Chen said. "What's your name, honey?" "Lily," the girl said. "My mama's name is Sarah." "Well, Lily, why don't you look at the cakes and tell me which one you think your mama would like best?" Lily pressed her nose to the glass, studying each cake with intense concentration. She pointed to a beautiful chocolate, layer cake with buttercream, flowers cascading down one side. "That one," she breathed. "That one is perfect." Mrs. Chen looked at the cake Lily had chosen. It was one of her special orders, made for a customer who was supposed to pick it up in 2 hours. It cost $75. She was trying to figure out how to gently redirect Lily to something more realistic when the bell above the door chimed and another customer walked in. The man who entered was in his late 30s, with dark hair and the kind of face that would have been handsome if it hadn't looked so tired. He wore a black coat over a dark shirt, and there was something about his posture that spoke of weariness, beyond the physical. He moved to stand politely behind Lily, waiting his turn, and Mrs. Chen noticed he had good manners despite seeming lost in his own thoughts. "Excuse me, sweetheart," Mrs. Chen said to Lily. "Let me help this gentleman, and then we'll figure out your cake, okay?" But Lily was already turning around, and when she did, she looked up at the man with those serious eyes and said something that made everyone in the bakery stop and pay attention. "Excuse me, sir," Lily said in her small voice. "Are you sad?" The man blinked, clearly startled. What? You look sad," Lily said matter-of-factly. "My mama looks like that sometimes, when she's worried about money or when she misses my daddy." "Are you missing someone?" Mrs. Chen started to apologize. "I'm so sorry, sir. Children sometimes—" But the man held up a hand, and his expression had softened in a way that made him look younger. He crouched down so he was at Lily's eye level. "You know what?" he said quietly. "I am a little sad. I am missing someone. How did you know?" "Your eyes," Lily said simply. "They look lonely." The man let out a breath that might have been a laugh or might have been something else. "You're very perceptive." "What's your name?" "Lily." "I'm Daniel," he said. "Nice to meet you, Lily. What brings you to the bakery today?" "I'm buying a birthday cake for my mama," Lily said proudly, holding up her $5 bill again. "She's turning 30 tomorrow, and I saved up my allowance for 3 months. I want to get her that chocolate cake with the flowers because chocolate is her favorite and she works really hard and she deserves something." "Beautiful!" Daniel looked at the $5, then at the cake Lily had pointed to, and Mrs. Chen saw understanding cross his face. He straightened up and met Mrs. Chen's eyes over Lily's head. And something passed between them, a recognition of the situation and what it meant. "That's a beautiful cake," Daniel said. "Your mom is lucky to have such a thoughtful daughter." "The thing is," Lily said, her voice dropping to a whisper, "I don't think $5 is enough. But it's all I have. Mrs. Chen is trying to help me figure out what to do." Daniel was quiet for a moment. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out his wallet. "You know what, Lily? Today is actually my birthday, too." Lily's eyes widened. "Really?" "Really," Daniel said. "I turned 39 today, and I was just thinking on my way here that I didn't have anyone to celebrate with, that I'd probably just go home to my empty apartment and have a quiet evening alone. But you've given me an idea. What if we share that cake? You take it for your mama's birthday tomorrow, and I'll consider it my birthday cake, too. We can be birthday cake partners." Lily frowned, thinking hard. "But that's your birthday cake. You should have it." "I think," Daniel said gently, "that giving your mom a beautiful birthday cake would make me happy. It would make my birthday special to know I helped make someone else's birthday special. Would that be okay with you?" Lily looked uncertain. "But I should pay for it. I have $5. "I'll tell you what," Daniel said. "You give me your $5 and I'll add the rest. It'll be a team effort. Deal?" He held out his hand, and after a moment, Lily shook it solemnly. She handed over her $5 bill, and Daniel gave it to Mrs. Chen along with his credit card. "I'd like to purchase that chocolate cake with the flowers," he said. "And please add whatever else $5 would buy. Maybe some cupcakes or cookies?" Mrs. Chen, who'd been watching this exchange with tears in her eyes, nodded. "I'll box up some of our fresh chocolate chip cookies. They're Lily's contribution to the order." While Mrs. Chen boxed up the cake and cookies, Daniel sat down at one of the small cafe tables, and Lily climbed onto the chair across from him. "Why are you alone on your birthday?" Lily asked with the directness only children possess. Daniel smiled sadly. "Well, I work a lot. I run a company, which means I'm very busy. And somewhere along the way, I forgot to make time for friends and family. My parents passed away a few years ago, and I don't have any brothers or sisters. I used to have friends, but I was so focused on work that I stopped calling them back, stopped making plans. And now, when I look around, I realize I'm all alone. It sort of snuck up on me." "That's sad," Lily said. "Everyone should have someone on their birthday." "You're right," Daniel agreed. "What about you? Where's your dad? Is he helping plan your mom's birthday surprise?" Lily's face fell. "My daddy died when I was 3. I don't remember him much, just a little bit. Just how he used to sing to me before bed. Mama says he loved us very much, but he got sick and couldn't get better." "I'm so sorry, Lily," Daniel said, and his voice was thick with emotion. "That must be very hard." "It is," Lily said. "Mama works 2 jobs now so we can have our apartment and food and stuff. She works at a restaurant during the day and cleans offices at night. She's always tired. But she still reads to me before bed and helps me with my homework. That's why I wanted to get her a really special cake. She deserves something that makes her smile." Daniel had to look away for a moment, and Mrs. Chen, who was listening while she finished boxing the order, had to wipe her eyes with her apron. "Your mama is very lucky to have you," Daniel finally said. "Mr. Daniel?" Lily said. "If you're alone today, do you want to come to Mama's birthday party tomorrow? It won't be fancy. We're just going to have cake and ice cream in our apartment. But you shouldn't be alone on your birthday, even if it was yesterday by then." Daniel looked at this child, who'd known him for 10 minutes and was inviting him into her home, into her family's celebration, simply because she thought no one should be alone. And he felt something crack in his chest, some wall he'd built around himself to protect against the loneliness he'd been pretending wasn't there. "Are you sure your mom would be okay with that?" he asked. "Mama always says we should be kind to people, especially people who are lonely or sad. And you're both, I think. So yes, she'd be okay with it." Mrs. Chen brought over the boxes, the beautiful cake, and a container of cookies. Daniel took out a business card and handed it to Lily. "This has my phone number on it," he said. "Ask your mama to call me if it's really okay for me to come to the party. If I don't hear from her, I'll understand. But Lily, thank you. You've made my birthday better than I expected." Lily carefully put the card in her canvas bag. "Thank you for helping me get Mama's cake. You're a good birthday cake partner. Daniel helped Lily carry the boxes to the address she gave him, which turned out to be a modest apartment building 4 blocks away. He insisted on making sure she got home safely, and when a woman in her late 20s answered the door, clearly surprised to see her daughter with a stranger and expensive bakery boxes, Daniel quickly explained the situation. Sarah, Lily's mother, had the same blue eyes as her daughter, and the tired but kind face of someone who worked too hard and worried too much. She tried to refuse the cake, saying it was too much, but Lily insisted it was, already paid for with her $5 and some help from her birthday cake partner. "I promise I didn't approach your daughter," Daniel said quickly, seeing Sarah's understandable wariness. "We met at the bakery, and she noticed I was alone on my birthday. She has a very kind heart. The cake is genuinely from both of us." Sarah looked at the expensive cake, then at her daughter's proud face, then back at Daniel. "I don't know what to say. This is incredibly generous." "Lily invited me to your birthday celebration tomorrow," Daniel said. "I know that's presumptuous, and I completely understand if you'd prefer I not come, but I wanted you to have my card and to know that your daughter is remarkable. She noticed I was lonely and decided to do something about it. That's a gift you've given her, that compassion." Sarah took the card, saw the company name, and her eyes widened. "You're the CEO of Stratford Industries?" Daniel nodded. "I am. But today I'm just Daniel, someone who met your daughter in a bakery and remembered what it's like to believe. People can be kind to each other for no reason other than it's the right thing to do." That night, Sarah called Daniel. She told him how Lily hadn't stopped talking about her birthday cake partner, about how hard her daughter had worked to save that $5, about how much the gesture meant to them both. She apologized for initially being suspicious and explained that as a single mother, she had to be careful. But she said that if he truly wanted to come to the party, they'd be honored to have him. The next evening, Daniel showed up at their apartment with flowers for Sarah, a wrapped present for Lily that he'd spent hours picking out, and ice cream to go with the cake. The party was small, just the three of them in a tiny apartment that was clean but sparse, decorated with handmade birthday banners that Lily had created with crayons and construction paper. They ate pizza that Sarah ordered with money she'd saved. They sang Happy Birthday, and they cut into the beautiful chocolate cake with buttercream flowers. And Daniel couldn't remember a birthday, couldn't remember any evening that had felt more like home. Over the following months, Daniel became a regular part of Lily and Sarah's life. He came to dinner once a week, helped Lily with school projects, and made sure Sarah's old car got fixed when it broke down. He established a scholarship fund in his parents' names and made sure Sarah was the first recipient so she could cut back to one job and finish the nursing degree she'd abandoned when her husband died. He also started making changes in his own life. He reconnected with old friends, started leaving work at reasonable hours, and learned that the company didn't fall apart if he wasn't there every minute. He began to build a life that felt full instead of empty, connected instead of isolated. A year after that meeting in the bakery, Daniel asked Sarah to dinner. Just the two of them at a nice restaurant. He'd been careful about his growing feelings for her, aware of the power dynamics and wanting to make sure anything between them was genuine and not based on gratitude or obligation. But his feelings had only deepened, and after months of friendship and family dinners and slowly building something real, he finally told her he'd fallen in love with her. Sarah, who'd been resisting her own feelings for the same reasons, finally admitted she loved him too. They were married the following spring, in a small ceremony where Lily was the flower girl and Mrs. Chen made the wedding cake. Daniel adopted Lily officially, and she started calling him Dad about 6 months later. Tentatively at first, and then with the comfortable ease of a child who felt secure. On their first anniversary, as they celebrated with chocolate cake from Mrs. Chen's bakery, Daniel told Lily that she'd saved his life that day she walked into the bakery with $5. "I thought I was successful," he said. "I had money and a company and all the things people think mean you've made it. But I was completely alone, and I didn't even realize how empty. I was until a 6-year-old girl looked at me and said I looked sad. You saw me, Lily, you saw I was lonely, and instead of walking away, you included me. You invited me to be part of your family when I didn't have one. That's the greatest gift anyone's ever given me." Lily, now 8 years old and more confident but still possessing that same kind heart, hugged him tightly. "You were my birthday cake partner," she said. Partners don't leave each other alone. Years later, when Lily graduated from college, she gave a speech at the ceremony about the people who'd shaped her life. She talked about her mother, who'd worked 2 jobs and still found time to read bedtime stories. She talked about her father, who'd died before she could really know him, but whose love she still felt. And she talked about the day she'd saved $5 to buy her mother a birthday cake and had met a lonely man in a bakery who became her dad. "He taught me that success means nothing if you're alone," Lily said. That the most important things in life are the connections we make with each other. And that sometimes the best things happen when we notice someone is hurting and decide to do something about it. My dad always says I saved his life that day, but the truth is we saved each other. That's what family does. Daniel, sitting in the audience between Sarah and Mrs. Chen, who they'd invited to the graduation, wiped tears from his eyes. He thought about the man he'd been 4 years ago, successful but empty, building an empire but missing everything that mattered. And he thought about the little girl with pigtails, who'd looked at him with serious eyes and asked if he was sad, who'd invited him into her life with no expectation of anything in return. She'd had $5 and a heart full of love, and somehow that had been enough to change everything, to build a family, to teach him that the most valuable things in life can't be bought, only chosen. That loneliness isn't a permanent state, but rather a problem that can be solved with connection and compassion and the courage to let someone in. The bakery where it all started still stands on that corner, in the old part of town. Mrs. Chen, now retired but still visiting the shop her daughter runs, tells the story to customers sometimes about the little girl with $5 and the lonely CEO and the birthday cake that brought them together. It's become part of the neighborhood legend, a reminder that everyday kindness creates ripples we can't always predict, that a child's compassion can heal an adult's broken heart. That family is built not just through blood, but through choosing each other, again and again through all the ordinary and extraordinary moments of life. And that sometimes all it takes to change someone's life is to see that they're hurting and invite them to share a piece of cake, because cake tastes better when it's shared. Just like joy, just like love, just like life itself. That's what Lily taught Daniel in a bakery one afternoon when she had $5, and he had everything except what mattered most. She taught him that the richest life is one filled with people to celebrate with, that success means nothing if you're alone, and that the greatest gift we can give each other is simply to see each other's pain and offer connection. They were birthday cake partners that day, but they became something even better. They became family, and that made all the difference.